Today I'm going to talk about something a little bit different, although we're still going to talk about Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. Are we in trouble? Is Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown in trouble? Now, I came in here expecting not to see anybody. Ironically, we have actually just seen another live player in the lobby here for the Solar Hotel. But what I want to kind of talk about here, first of all, is the game. And I'm going to address a couple of things I've seen recently also about the game. Now, of course, we can look at the map, and there is one big issue with the map. And of course, that issue is, where are the other players? Right now, on the map itself, I've got everything deselected apart from nearby. Where are players? I'll select them all, just in case I've done something wrong here. But as you guys are well aware, there's no players on this map. And if we push Y, we could hunt for players. And we can see available right now, yes, Alex is there, Altair's there, that's fine. But they're not in the game. And this map is specifically showing me right now, there are no other players on my region, on the PC, that are in the game. Now, yes, we could literally jump into the facts here that on Steam there's a minimal amount of players playing this game. We've actually just had somebody appear at the top of the map. So there is one player on the map here. What's that? Original Casali at the top of the map in the Delta Integrale. That's fantastic. But it's one player on a fairly big map. Now, of course, you guys have all experienced this yourself. You've all felt this as well. And most recently, an interesting video did come across me, and I'm going to talk about it.
Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown could be in big trouble.
And yes, of course, it was a video from Black Panther. Now, I'm going to address that first of all. Black Panther, I love the guy. Watched his content for years. And I still watch his content. Love the fact that Black Panther is out there giving smaller games a chance. Most recently with, was it Tokyo Drift, whatever it is. Games that I don't typically play, I don't want to play. So he's giving other games a chance, smaller studios a chance with the games, that's fine. And he's been very critical of Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, and a lot of people aren't happy about that. I totally get that fact. But what we have to appreciate here, and what I do appreciate, is he's given his own opinion. And it's a lot of things that people tend to hate online. People giving their own opinion on a game that they're playing, that they're paying their money for. And it's one thing I think should not be stripped away. The free speech, essentially, that Black Panther gives off. And I actually appreciate the criticism that he gives of the game. Sometimes I do feel it to be a bit harsh of, criticism he's played, and a lot of people get hung up on thumbnails and titles. What was most recent was, I forced myself to play for 50 hours. It's a thumbnail, it's a title, it's the YouTube game, understanding what the YouTube game is all about. Anyway, getting away from that, the fact that Black Panther actually comes on and gives his own opinion, his own feelings on the game, however bold they may be, I actually appreciate and I think have to be acknowledged. Now, in that video specifically, he spoke about a few things. Is Test Drive in trouble?
But could also not be in big trouble.
And he also gave the other side of the argument that it might not be in trouble. And if you haven't watched the video, of course I would implore you to go over and check it out. But the interesting part of the video was weighing up the possibilities of what may be in the future of Test Drive. Now, recently, if you guys haven't been made aware, well, Nacon acquired, I believe it was Nacon, maybe KT, I'm sure it was Nacon. Probably should have fact-checked that one, or made sure I was correct before coming in. Nonetheless, well, they have now reacquired WRC. EA Sports not having the title anymore, Nacon or KT, I'm sure it's Nacon, apologies on that one. Well, they've got WRC back, and it is going to be a big focus from 2027. So does that then cast a shadow on what may be coming in the future for Test Drive? Is the focus of the team that is there so far, well, is it solely going to be focused towards WRC, and is TDU going to get dropped? Games have a cycle. One thing that I would think we could be very open about, Test Drive isn't in that category. If we cast our minds back to Test Drive 1, Test Drive 2, they weren't just over and done with within a 1 year period. We played those games for years on end. Some people still to this day are playing Test Drive 2, whether that is in protest of what we've got with Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, which very much isn't what Test Drive is all about. That is understandable, but the fact is these aren't just one and done games. They're not just quick cycles like EA Sports do with FC or FIFA, whatever you want to call it, the WRC games themselves, release them for a year, rinse the community of money for buying packs and whatever else, then bring out a whole new game once again, rinse repeat exercise, drain the community of liquidity once again, and do the same year over year. Games like Forza Horizon 5, 6, 4, whatever else is out, Test Drive, all of these kind of games, The Crew as well actually put that into that bracket, are not just year over year rinse repeat exercises. They last for years on end, they get constant development. But of course the question that has been raised from Black Panther, well, is this now a dying or have an end date for Test Drive with WRC coming back from 2027? Does that mean, well, realistically, we've only got a year to a year and a half worth of updates for Test Drive? It's a compelling argument, and I would obviously want to weigh in on this one. I don't think that's going to be the case. Now, of course, I don't work there, I don't have an insight. It's purely my own view, much like Black Panther had. It's my own view and my own opinion of how I feel things are going to go. I don't think they're going to put the amount of money and time and effort into Test Drive that they have done already to then come towards Season 4 and Year 2, where we already know there's essentially going to be somewhat of a rebranding of the game for it then just to be dropped. Now, something important is of course coming in Season 4 is the paid Solar Pass. Is that going to be a make or break for the game? I mean, I could argue it is in that kind of realm. Are they going to start making revenue from us buying the Solar Pass? Well, I can tell you for one, I will be buying the Solar Pass. Whether we love it or hate it, the Solar Pass in its current format, it's part of the games. You go play Call of Duty or whatever it is you're going to play, you're going to have a Battle Pass like we've got here in Test Drive. You've got the Solar Pass. It's an adage to the game. It's a driver for the game, no pun intended. That I would think a large portion of the community is going to buy. Yes, price point is very much going to be a sticking point, especially in today's current economy. You know, cost of living crisis, whatever else may be going on. But it does raise the question, is that a make or break for the developers going forward? Are we now looking at, well, if the Solar Pass doesn't succeed, they don't have the money or they can't justify spending the money, putting in more time, more upgrades on the game? I mean, I would argue with that, you know, you can see that as a possibility, but the adage they have there is, well, for me, coming back to the casino is, for me, going to drive a lot of people back to this game. And I'm going to circle back to how I started out today's video shortly, in case anybody's confused why I was talking about players on the map. I think the casino is going to drive a lot of traffic back into this game. Yes, it's not going to be there 100% on day one. They have obviously spoke about that in the recent solar letter that we had. But there's going to be a mid-season patch bringing more to the casino. But the question there, of course, will beg, how do we meet up with other people in the casino? And this is where we revert back to the earlier part of the game. When we look at the map, what you guys seen, I only seen one player in the Solar Hotel in the lobby, and I only seen one other player on the map. There is an issue with cross-playing, whether it's cross-platform, cross-region, and how do the devs actually get around this issue? I, for one, do not want to be going into a casino where we cannot interact with one another. If we are limited to PC and EU servers, which I am right now, will I actually be able to interact with other PC, EU server players in the casino? Furthermore, can we then walk out of the casino together, jump into a map without being in a group, and be able to go to a race with one another? Now, recently, as you guys kind of should know, well, we've been doing a lot of online play. The other night, Alex7 jumped in. Just last night, we had a good run around the track, run around the map. Sorry, 4 of us. That one, Destroyer and Paku and myself spent a few hours just running about the map, having a little bit of a cruise. Now, that's all fine because we are friends on Steam and we can invite each other to the games and we can all meet up, meeting up in groups of 8 sometimes. That's all fine and done. But it shouldn't be how it's done. We should be able to come into the map and see a thriving map, maybe 8, 16 players, whatever it is. We should be able to jump in, challenge one another. That is the economy this game should have, and simply put, it has it. That's why we have had essentially what has been labelled a terrible launch for the game, and it's not something anybody can argue with. But moving into Season 4, perhaps even into Year 2, how do they get around this? For me, the simple answer, of course, is unlock cross-platform or cross-region. Yes, it's very simple to say. I imagine it's so much more difficult to integrate. I'm not a game developer. I don't know how that kind of thing works. But most other games nowadays, you know, you've not got that limitation. You don't have that problem. And it is something I feel should be focused on from the devs, or perhaps the game will be in trouble. So there's a few things we can add up here. If we cannot interact with one another going into Season 4, into the casinos, into Year 2, if that's still an issue, with an adage that nobody is essentially buying the Solar Pass, that the game itself isn't bringing in any additional revenue other than sales of the game, which so far have been somewhat lackluster, but probably still enough for the game to be profitable, then it does bring into question that Black Panther so well raised. Is TDU in trouble? I would personally say right now I'm not overly concerned. Yes, we've not had a good launch. Yes, they've addressed that. And yes, there are what seems to be contingencies in place to mitigate the launch that it has had. Obviously, a rebrand going into the casino into Year 2, perhaps moving away from this futuristic vibe we've got to perhaps a more accustomed current vibe. I'm trying to think of the best words to kind of put this. They're maybe bringing it back to where Test Drive should be. Now, bringing back the integration of the Test Drive DNA, housing, casinos, lifestyle choices. That's what TDU is all about, and that's essentially what needs to come back. My opinion on that, should they be able to bring back lifestyle choices, bring back the possibility of playing with one another seamlessly, and the adage that they make revenue, I don't think there's going to be a problem. But there's a lot of if right there. There's a lot the devs have to do, and I'm pretty sure they don't need a small YouTube channel to tell them that. They will well and truly know that. For me, I do remain hopeful. I do think we've got a long sustained game here. I'm not concerned about the future, but I am cautiously optimistic. If certain milestones aren't met, well, where's the attraction for players to play this game? Time will tell. I just kind of wanted to come in and cover off what Black Panther was talking about, and also leave it on this note. I'm not criticising that man whatsoever. I agree with a lot of what he says. I also disagree, but that's the beauty of life. What his videos have done is give the opposite side of probably what I do for the most part. It gives the controversial side and addresses a lot of the hot topics. Yes, there's issues with the game. Yes, it didn't have a good launch. Yes, there is work that is needed. However, what we do have here is a solid base for a great game, which, yes, does need some work, does need some improvements, but I'm pretty confident we're going to see that over the coming months, potentially even years. Guys, please weigh in, give me your thoughts and opinions on everything we have covered off in today's video, and of course if you did like it, please smash the like button and consider subscribing. And of course guys, stay tuned for more updates on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown.